Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 197. We're a podcast that talks about pop culture, things that interest us. And sometimes there's whiskey. My name is John, and I'm joined as always by Andrea. How's it going? Oh, she probably has whiskey in that mug.
I've been waiting.
Very nice. How's it going, Andrea?
Pretty good, just layering up because of the intense cold we're experiencing. So that's why I look all snuggly today, because that's what I choose. I choose cuddly warmth in the midst of this freezing Arctic tundra.
About to get worse. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. It's always what you want to hear. It's really cold. Gonna get worse.
Yeah. At least we don't have the mountains of snow like that one place in Russia. I don't know if you've been seeing that at all.
Yes, I have.
That's pretty crazy.
Right?
So.
I mean, that's the attitude you got to have, John. There's always somebody out there who's got it worse, so be thankful for your circumstances.
Yep.
But well,
you're bundled up.
Sad. It's kind of sad, though. I just to be Minnesotan and stay on the weather for one more second. It's sad because Friday is my dad's birthday. And he is worried about us gathering for a celebration because it's going to be so intensely cold. So
sure.
I hope everybody is feeling safe to drive and can make it. And happy early birthday to my father.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, we'll be able to cheers to that.
Right, sneaking in some daughter points.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said I'm giving off the Star Trek vibes, when we before show.
I do. I feel it.
Led us into talking Star Trek things and then Battlestar Galactica. So I want the fan community out there to really just tell Andrea, maybe we need reverse psychology on it. Don't watch Battlestar Galactica, the reboot, Andrea. It's trash. No good.
It's a trashy space soap opera. You're gonna hate it. Mm-hmm. It's terrible.
Yep.
I mean, it could work because, like, the last time I watched a space opera, it was Cowboy Bebop, and I loved it. And it was one of those things I always felt like I should watch, and I always felt mild pressure to watch. And then I finally did, and I was like, oh, why did I wait? So maybe it'll be the same thing.
Very good. Yep. Well, we all know we have tons of time, so we'll just throw that in the mix,
Totally.
Be like nothing. But we are going to be talking a lot about space-related things today, that's for sure. We're continuing through our chronological discussion of Alien, taking our time with it, but we're to Aliens now, which seems like you guys just started talking about it. But no, we've covered Prometheus and Covenant. And Alien
Romulus.
And Alien Romulus. And now we're on this.
Yep.
So
we did briefly touch on Alien Earth.
Yes. Right. We acknowledged its existence, a little bit of
episodes 1 and 2. Yeah. Because that's all I had seen at the time. And I'm not terribly much further, but I'm getting there.
Okay, because we are aware it is like right after Alien.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going along, and it's going to be interesting because now after this is the next two movies, which are the last two, and much further down the timeline from where we're all playing around in alien space now, are the two that I have not seen ever. Like only pieces and stuff. So this is where I get really excited, even though my understanding is they're not as good. I'm still very interested.
I mean, they're not as good, but also that doesn't mean like they're bad.
Sure.
Do you know? Yeah, it's just because something's not as good doesn't mean trash pile. But yes, the quality can drop. I won't tell you by how much in which movie and when and where, but it does. But speaking of both space and time, I forgot upon watching this movie that Aliens takes place 57 years after Alien. So that was a bigger time jump than I remembered, which was
Right.
interesting in watching this movie and re-examining the world of Alien. And then also I was about halfway through this movie when Chris saw fit to inform me that he had never seen it. And that
Mm.
was a problem.
Starting over.
Exactly.
So, okay. Well, very nice. We're getting into Aliens, 1986, I think it is, James Cameron. And that'll be our main topic. It'll be spoilery. Before that, I want to go a little bit into reviewing the Dune novel. So also a space sci-fi thing.
Nice.
We'll talk about what else we've been watching during our weeks. But we should kick it all off after you guys subscribe, like, and share, and all that sort of thing. We should talk about our drink holidays.
Yes, you'll have time during the drink holidays to go like, share, subscribe, do your thing, follow us anywhere you want. While I talk about the 3 drink holidays that are upcoming as of the end of this week and into February already. Holy crap.
Yikes.
In just 5 short days, you can celebrate with me by drinking your alcohol with coffee. And you can have an Irish coffee. That is how I feel today because our 2 specific drink holidays that are listed for the end of January are hot and cold. We have a hot Irish coffee, which seemed appropriate with our freezing cold weather. And then we have a cold drink, which did not seem appropriate with the, or maybe thematically could be appropriate with the freeze we were experiencing outside. But the last day of January, the 31st, it is Brandy Alexander Day.
Okay.
Are you celebrating either of these specific holidays?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm feeling kind of lame. I am hoping to.
Well, hold on. You could be celebrating the 2nd day of February, which is Groundhog Day. And the gods that celebrate and keep track of the drink holidays of the year said that Groundhog Day is essentially celebrated with alcohol like this. You go inside a bar, you order a drink, you drink your drink, you come out of the bar. If you see your shadow on the ground, you are morally obligated to go back inside that bar and order another drink.
Wow. Okay.
Simple as that, John. Simple as that.
Okay. Perfect. Well, got to go in there during the daytime if you're ready for another drink.
Exactly.
But, I mean,
exactly.
you might not see your shadow.
Today.
Yeah.
Yep. And depending on the angle, you don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
well, no, I am actually not having any alcohol until Valentine's Day. So
okay.
So I have a mocktail, but I'm using my cool Alien Earth glass.
So. Yes, I was going to say, is there something that's with us from the box that Ashley got you?
Mm-hmm. So, a mocktail. It's like juice, but it's got
but delicious
muddled fruit. Got like a blackberry and some apple and oranges, and then I've got a mixed berry lemonade and a ginger ale. So.
Solid. Sounds
great.
And
lemon juice. Some extra lemon juice to make it like, it's a little more, tart, like a cocktail might be.
Yeah. That actually sounds eerily similar. Last night we got out some like frozen lemonade and blackberries and like a little bit of ginger ale, blended it all up and had, a mocktail as well with some fried chicken sandwiches. And it was like on point.
That is shockingly similar. Yes.
Yeah. Right. You were listing it off and I was like, okay. Get out of my head.
Yeah. Well, let us all know if you're celebrating any of these holidays in the chat. Cheers to you all, alcohol or not. Andrea, what have you been watching this past couple weeks?
I've leaned heavier on the anime side of things. So just because we had been kind of rushing to, or I had been, rushing to catch up for Hell's Paradise season premiere, and then watching JJK Jujutsu Kaisen as well. So yeah, so I've been a little heavier in the anime world because that took me some time. But I continued with Badly in Love, which both you and Ashley had recommended, and I really liked. I had to get past a little bit of like the character or the people switching, which was really difficult. Like in the beginning, two people or somebody gets kicked off and then new people come in. And I was just like,
okay,
I just started getting to know you people. But now I'm kind of like more emotionally invested in everyone that's there. So that's been a good time. And then, I just watched Aliens.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm debating, we should talk about Badly in Love when we're all done with it on the anime podcast, because it is a Japanese
that'd be fun.
pop culture podcast.
Yeah,
so.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, we are very like busy in our anime shows because I did find out that a couple of the episodes we thought hadn't been dubbed for Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider are. So they're on my to-do list to go watch that. So
yep. It'll be a very odd week next week if it's perhaps Frieren and Tojima combo episode.
Those are different things, but yes.
Okay. Well, very good. I also watched Badly in Love. I completed it. It's only 10 episodes. They are going to do a season 2. So we'll see what happens there. But the big thing for me was the long time coming, finally, completion of the original novel Dune by Frank Herbert. So this is the edition that I have. And I love this edition. I think it's very cool looking. The trilogy box set of this. And without this dust cover, it says embossed on the cover, which you probably can't see. Maybe at the right light.
Yep. If you just turn it, right about there. There you go.
Fear is the mind killer, it says. Gold on the side here.
Very cool.
Look at my face camera. So, anyways, this book, I feel pretty ashamed that I did not finish it faster. I say it's a symptom of my many hobbies, my way too many things that I'm interested in. But I eventually got there, and I'm now on to Dune Messiah. I've just started that, only 25 pages into that or something, but it's a much shorter book as well. So Dune, when I saw the first Dune movie here now, the Denis Villeneuve one, I wanted to make a movie. It like re-inspired my passion for cinema. I really enjoyed it. It's something far out when like Star Wars had faltered so much to have this thing that's like purely a grown-up hard sci-fi thing. Like there's no, as far as I know, no kids book version of Dune, like no little golden books of Dune. Because it just it's not that. And so I really like that about it. And I like how I maybe have said this on here. I've definitely told people, a lot of people writing try to come off as profound, but they don't really have anything profound to say. And I think Frank Herbert does. Like he's a guy that had a variety of jobs, kind of like survivalist guy. He wrote things and speeches for politicians. He was a journalist. He did a lot of things in his time, and I think it led to some insight. And so this book, I have a whole album on my phone of Dune quotes and things that I can mull over sometimes and stuff, because, and sometimes cool. If when I started, I was like, okay, is something to think about, and then does he have something to say here, or is he just trying to sound nice? And the more I thought about more of the things I really appreciate is his insight and perspective. And I've heard that and I don't know if it's true at all or not. Like, do you know when Tolkien died?
Oh God, not offhand. Damn.
Okay. I supposedly he did not like Dune. This is what
I have heard that.
yeah. And I can see how the
73.
okay. Yes. Right. So I can see how, you know, Lord of the Rings and this are incredibly different kinds of books, but I appreciate the realistic nature of this story. I appreciate the bold, you know, way he thinks about the far off future. I like that it's placed so far in the future, you know, 10,000 years. It's just, I find it very unique. I find it very, you know, like they humanize all the characters. And some people said it's a very hard read or like heavy to get into. And I think part of that's helped me is actually seeing the Dune movies first, because there's just a mental load that's not required anymore. When they say Gurney, you just have a picture of Gurney. Like there's a bunch of things that are just already there. It kind of gives you a baseline.
Sure.
So I do think that probably assisted me quite a bit in getting going. But I love it. I'm very excited for what's to come. It makes me worried about some of the things that they changed in the films. They really did butcher Chani, did in the movies. She really is not the same character. I don't blame Zendaya. They just the choices they made for her are just not the book. And so it's very interesting. They must have a plan for how they're going to continue this in Dune 3 or whatever they call it, Messiah or whatever, because it's just ends completely differently. And like where it's going, I'm not going to spoil anything for people, but it just doesn't make sense. And so it's like one of those things, like if you tell a lie and then all of a sudden you had to like cover for the lie, and then you start getting backed in the corner and it becomes a web because you have to continually come up with a new thing. It's like, where does this go when you change this element so dramatically? Yeah.
That's interesting. Three thoughts in that. One, that's exactly how I felt when Del Toro changed some fundamental things about Frankenstein. He had to keep pivoting. Like, oh, I changed this. Oh, I changed this. Oh, I changed this. So now I have to do this and this and this. And it, as we saw, can end badly. Obviously, there were good elements to that film, but there were some pretty big plot holes that we just had to swallow because those initial choices and those initial changes, really had downstream consequences. So yeah, that also makes me a little nervous. For the second question, next Dune movies, is there one or two that's already been greenlit? Do you know?
My understanding is just one. I think this is Denis Villeneuve's last Dune movie, unless I guess they throw billions of dollars. Whatever. It's supposed to be. This is the last one completing the story.
Okay. I had heard rumblings of a fourth, possibly with or without him. So I just was wondering if there was any new light to be shed on how many movies were coming up next. Okay. And then since you say you have like kind of a note full of quotes and things to mull over from Dune, any like outstanding favorites or like one that you really return to that you're just like, this is so interesting. I just think about this a lot.
Well, I haven't memorized any, I'll say, but there is the big famous one is the Litany Against Fear, and I actually have a board of that now downstairs on a wall, like a poster of it or whatever. But yeah, there's a number that some are simple, some let's see. I will say a couple here. Let's see. Okay, so this one. So this is listed as from the Songs of Muad'Dib by the Princess Irulan. Do you wrestle with dreams? Do you contend with shadows? Do you move in a kind of sleep? Time has slipped away. Your life is stolen. You tarried with trifles, victim of your folly. So to me, it's about wasting your life, grabbing it by the horns. You spend all this time worrying about meaningless things, whatever, and now it's too late. Time's gone.
I wasn't sure what to think from the opening lines, but by the time you got to the end, that's where I was too, and I liked that.
This one, there should be a science of discontent. People need hard times and oppression to develop psychic muscles.
I like that.
Let's see. Let's see, there's one more I can do. Sorry for the dead air, everyone, but there's a lot
How dare you
to go through.
Well, I mean, that speaks to Dune's endurance and, like you said, presenting you with things that you can kind of like wrestle with. I was reading a little bit about the dislike of Tolkien for Dune, and he was kind of against this structure of morality that Frank Herbert had built, and the kind of sense that morality sometimes gave way to political necessity. And Tolkien was a little bit more of like a moral purist, so he really had a problem with letting that go in the face of practical or personal necessity. So I found that interesting.
And see, I get that, but like, to me, when he's writing Lord of the Rings, that's an aspirational tale. Like, I just think of the movies when like Sam's trying to tell Frodo, like, these are the dark times or whatever, that they write stories of heroes about. It's like literally like that's what Tolkien's doing, and the people that would inspire you to greatness, to upstand and uphold your moral values, no matter the darkness that spreads, like whatever you're against, all that sort. That's great. I got chills thinking about that. but that's not real people. Now, you want to aspire to that greatness and stuff, but when you talk about real people, Frank Herbert's writing of Dune is a warning into trusting authority and government. Like, it's a this is what I've seen in real people. This is what they do. This is not a like how to live your life or what you should be like or something like that. So that's what I enjoy about this is, both things should exist. Sure. I want both. That's why I say Dune is for adults. It's not for anyone else that's like, how should I live my life? Let's live it like Paul Atreides. Probably not. Yeah. Probably not. Even though you understand the choices he makes as you go through, it's like, still, it's not.
And I think that Tolkien, from his part, would be relieved to hear you say that and say, like, this is the correct reading, or like the way that I want you to approach these in terms of, my work is aspirational. And, Frank Herbert's is a bit of a cautionary tale. And, don't model your life after this. But I think he would worry that perhaps, another reader might see his tale as purely aspirational, like, oh, that's really great, but I can never live up to it, so I'm not even going to try. And, this guy is real. This guy knows what it's like. I will build my life after this because, it seems to get him somewhere, or, So I think that would be his mindset. Like, he would want it to be read in the frame of mind that you're talking about, but would fear that someone else would read it differently.
Yeah. I mean, that's the lesson we teach to our kids. It's like the whole idea of, it's like, well, why, evil is never going to end. Crime is never going to stop. Why do we have police? Why do we bother? You're never going to, your job is literally to keep people safe, but it's like, it doesn't matter. It is endless, and you must keep up the fight endlessly. That's just how it goes. So one more quote I got here. It's just more of a cheeky thing than like something deep or whatever. But a stone is heavy and the sand is weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than both.
I like it.
Yeah. Many a good quote. I'm excited. Starting just like preview of Dune, Messiah, you just would say that like I'm worried if there is any sort of hubris that affected Frank Herbert after the success and reception of the first Dune. Sure. Just off starting reading it, there was some dialogue that I felt like I don't see this conversation necessarily. It doesn't feel real, this type of conversation, the dialogue, the back and forth. And then the next conversation, while more real, feels like maybe unnecessarily plotting or weighted or like, like he's getting worked up of trying to be too deep now.
Sure,
And like this was, but I don't know these characters yet. Yeah. So I don't know these characters yet that, most of them. So I don't know if that's, I don't know. It's very early. It's just when I started it, I felt a contrast from the first book and
get nervous. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sequels are tough. Hopefully he finds his footing. I haven't read Dune, so I don't have any comfort or, anything in the way of preview to give you, but yeah, hopefully it, falls back into his old rhythm.
Yep. All right. One sci-fi thing to another. Let's scroll back the sci-fi universe timeline many a century. Yeah. To the film Aliens by not Ridley Scott, but James Cameron. What a switch here. I've seen not too long ago, Ridley Scott talking about how he should have nailed down that franchise, how he should have wrapped up the rights, but he just like let it go and stuff. Okay, sure. Well, there it is. But James Cameron's Aliens, the sequel, what do you, so you've seen this before. What has always been your thoughts on it overall? And did this new viewing change any of those thoughts?
I always liked Aliens. It's so, it's such a hard thing to follow up Alien. Alien is so good, and it's one of the movies I watched earliest and fell in love with earliest, which sounds funny for being what it is, but yeah. I watched this Alien when I was like 10 years old and just was like, God, it's so good. And it made a really big impression. But I liked Aliens. I thought it was a strong sequel. And I think my viewing here of it is that I like it even more. I think there's something different about Aliens in the sense of it is a little more classically action heavy, but it doesn't sink into a trap of, battles and action sequences over plot points or, a simple driving through narrative. So I think that's what makes Alien successful in my view. It's an action movie. It's a little bit more exciting, sure, than Alien, but there's a very simple plot that's happening here. It doesn't get too complicated. It doesn't try to over-explain and get too philosophical, but we do learn a little bit more about the xenomorphs and a little bit more about the company, Weyland-Yutani. So it advances, and it doesn't try to do more than the movie can do. So I like it.
Okay. Very good. Yeah,
How about
I've
you?
seen this. Yeah, I've seen this once before. Only once though. And it was such a jarring difference from the first one that I came away like, it was fine, But not a lot of it stuck with me. But now going into this, know what I'm in for. I liked it way more. I vastly I enjoyed my time with Aliens to a much greater extent on the second viewing than I did the first. So I, got invested enough in the colorful characters. And, I appreciate the look of it. It's like, I can feel a little more of the 80s vibe on different things.
Yeah.
Alien feels ahead of its time, but in a way, I don't know. It feels a little more timeless to me. Where this feels a little more 80s to me.
Yes, this is dated in a way. I could not put my finger exactly on it, or it would take me some time. But yes,
look, yeah, it's the look. It's got the Terminator 2 look, which makes sense. A lot of people talk about the best action movies ever, and this and Terminator 2 and Mad Max 2, 3 2s are always in the discussion. But yeah, I think this movie is. It keeps moving. They do a good job. It's again Sigourney Weaver. I haven't seen her in a lot of stuff outside of Alien that I've been like super impressed by or whatever. But she is great in these. At least in the first one and now this one, she's really good. Like, and selling the trauma that you'd be experiencing, given what you experienced previously, and then you skip ahead 50 years, and understandably, she's, having trouble and nightmares and all that sort of thing. I'm given a little bit of a, Jeff Goldblum vibe just in the Lost World sense. Like, I'm not going back. And then end up going back.
Nope, I'm going back.
Yeah. But, and I could see where they took the stuff from video game now, the little like sensor, the scanner that creates great tension. Where are they, man? Where are they? But, and the aliens looked so good in this. If that's one thing this has over the original and over Alien Earth, like our newest entry, the xenomorph looks awesome in this movie.
Yep.
So good. So, yeah, I like our cyborg. I like Rook, or Bishop. Sorry, Bishop.
Yeah. Bishop. Yes. Bishop.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he's got like a cool, wide-eyed, like, I'm not right look about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't look like a human. It's something about like his eyes and his eye sockets, the way they're set in his face. He just looks, a little bit off.
I think it's how he plays him too. Like, he does a good job of like subtly playing him. I'm innocent. I'm an innocent guy, and that works well for him. Like, being a little creepy, and you understand why Sigourney is like, history obviously or whatever. But, yeah. But then he shows us that it's not the case. You don't have to worry about him.
Right. He's got some great misdirection. The whole movie, I think you are waiting for the other shoe to drop as far as he's concerned, and it doesn't in this movie. So it's great because you really feel the tension as the audience. Like, when is it happening? When is it happening? When is the betrayal? And it never comes. Whereas, in the other corner, you've got Burke, the company man, who the first time he opens his mouth and he's like, oh, I work for the company, but I'm not that bad. You're like, oh, please. You've got rat written all over you. Yeah. He's got one of those looks that you're just like, yeah, so you're the slime ball, aren't you?
Yep. Yes. And they do. I recall a scene between him and Rook where they're like, I don't know, looking at a face hugger, or they're going off in a different room. I'm like, oh, there's where they're scheming or something. This is what, and it doesn't come to pass. So, they do. It's just a well put in place movie. They do, the, hey, I can operate the forklift thing. And then, of course, we use that at the end. So,
it's so good. So good. I always loved that. I mean, the conclusion of it is a little wonky, but like the thing itself, it looks really great. And it's, for the technology of its time, it's not trying to be too complicated. It's something that
I think
it's very real and practical and achievable, but also somehow futuristic, but it's not so futuristic that it looks cheesy and cheap or they're trying too hard. It's just like the right amount of cool stunt.
Yeah, they did it. They did a great job with that. I was like, I was pretty convinced by it. The only thing that you do in movies all the time is like opening an airlock into space when you're just
Yeah, that's what
there.
I mean.
It just, they do that all the time. I can't hardly like blame, fault this movie for it, I guess,
Yeah.
unless they were the first to do it. But it just seems like, guys, you understand? It's just there's no oxygen. It's absolute zero. Like you're just not. You're
Right?
dead.
It's not just about pressure.
Yeah.
It's not just that there's a lot of pressure and that the air would
it's
be
just
like
windy.
pulling you. Yeah, right. Exactly. It's just like they treat it like just a super windstorm in one direction. It's like, that's not how that would work. And also in this movie, even if it did work like that, it's one thing where like people hang on and they don't get pulled out. But Sigourney Weaver like not only hangs on, she like climbs herself out and like pulls, you know what I mean? It's just so wild that she would have strength to do that, being that close to the airlock. It's the only rough part, I think, of this movie in terms of believability.
Yeah, I mean, there's one of my favorite movies of all time does a thing that's messed up with this too, and I just whatever. I just
you gotta let it
have
go.
to let it go, I guess. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, everybody has the same feeling about the airlock to space as this some sort of like kill switch escape hatch thing that you can just defeat that only sucks in your enemies.
Yep. Let's see. There was definitely some stuff. So I won't talk about it because it deals with alien Earth, but it's just like, I still, at some point, I guess when it's all done, it'd be interesting to talk about some of the timeline and who knows what, when, and all that sort of thing, just to kind of get some of that straight.
In this viewing of the movie, I felt like I was paying a little bit more attention to the timelines of things, and it felt really interesting in the context of other alien movies and Alien Earth that I hadn't seen before. That this was like a 57-year gap between Alien and Aliens. Wayland Yutani had clearly, gone exploring on more worlds, had established a colony basically who knows when here, but it was enough to have a whole town. And I kind of missed that in my first viewing or my first one or two viewings of Aliens. You know what I mean? Like you got the fly up and you got like the pods and the energy, like energy generator and stuff like that. But like there were just a couple of exterior shots where you saw like, a glowing neon sign for a bar, a bank, like, homes were over here. And I really just was like, oh my God, I missed this level of detail before. And so I'm really interested now to see those kinds of things in terms of the larger alien universe.
Yeah. And so if I understood it correctly, so they had this place set up, but then after Sigourney's telling her story, Sleazebag Burke goes and has people check out what she's saying. Correct?
Yes.
It's like, this sounds interesting. Send them people up, and then that's how they get released and come back and destroy the whole town. Okay. Yeah. Because otherwise it's like, it's a pretty big coincidence, I guess, but yeah. What other stuff you want to talk about there? I loved the scene where Sigourney and the young girl, she like goes and is gonna like cut up and take a nap, and even though she's maybe not intending to take a nap with the girl, and then falls asleep and wakes up and she's locked in without her gun, and the face huggers are loose in there. That's a very good scene.
Yeah. The only question I had about that is like, or not question, but my reservation was like, she knows what the aliens do. Everybody else doesn't. But she knows, she has firsthand experience. Why is she not moving around the lab with like her hands, so you can't latch out on my neck? Like, I would just have my hands around by my face all the time. Just a little,
right?
Wouldn't
sure,
you?
Yeah, that's fair.
You know how they come at you and what they do. So yeah, I was just like, Ripley, like every other scene, you are so practical. You're such a badass. You're on top of it. But yeah, that was the only one I was like, you gotta, remember your training here, Ripley.
If I was doing thumbnails from our podcast, I would definitely grab you doing this.
Just doing some Vogue around my face.
Yeah.
But seriously,
no, that's true. I didn't think of that, but yeah, that's true.
I just think about, the way that they move and the way that it came at her, and it did get her, obviously it started the process. So I was just thinking like, man, you can still protect Newt and have your hands where it can't latch onto you. Yeah.
I was saying, they're lucky they weren't on a ship in this one, so they could actually shoot the xenomorphs. That's good.
Yes, exactly. They didn't have to worry about their acid blood. I think the movie did a good job of having them be far away enough for long that you didn't think about like the acid blood blowback for when they get shot, and then they finally introduce it when they get Hicks. Because that was something I started thinking about. I was like, man, they're starting to get in a range where it feels like, it's a little unrealistic that no acid blood has flown out and got anybody. And then they did it. And I was like, I mean, sorry, Hicks, but thank you from a realistic standpoint.
Yep.
What did you think of our supporting cast? There was quite a bit of heavy military presence, and a couple of people sticking around. Whereas in Alien, I felt like our numbers dwindled pretty rapidly, and we were only focused on one or two people.
Yeah. It felt, this is definitely another area where it felt sufficiently 80s. It felt like they were like checking boxes for like types of macho and
tough
stuff.
Guy, tough girl.
But they were fun, like in good humor. It was just kind of fun. They sort of had their camaraderie and stuff that was good. I thought it was a little funny. They immediately get out of cryo and start doing pull-ups. It's like, I don't know, there's no atrophy at all. Like, that's pretty good.
Nothing.
But,
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but Bill Paxton is really something. I mean, there's memes and stuff with him for a reason from this. But but you need the guy that's losing it.
Yeah, I mean, he provides some really enjoyable moments and some really cringe moments. There's not a lot of in between for his character. He does well with the extra jocular banter at the beginning when they're all cocky about their mission.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty hilarious when they pin his hand down for Bishop to do his knife. I genuinely thought that was very funny. He was like, ah!
Yeah.
He played that really well. But then, when he's losing it, he goes so far sometimes that it's hard to believe he is, this military guy. Yeah. But then, he pulls it around at the end and he kind of dies a badass death. So.
Yeah.
In fact, most of them do at the end there. They sacrifice themselves in meaningful ways. So they're just like, we're going down, but hell if we're not going to take them with us. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's like the woman and then the previous, I think they kind of die together. The guy that was in charge, operational
Dorman.
command,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was another snake of a guy that, you just felt his lack of actual field experience and his paralysis when everything started to go, you know. But then again, he pulled it around and he was like, yeah, we're going down, but we're gonna die honorably.
Yep. There you wrote it as you see your notes. Baller exit for Gorman and Vasquez.
Yes. Yes. Yep. It was that, they're both hanging on and pulling the trigger to blow up as many as they could. Great job.
Yep. I would feel like it's a good thing Bishop was there to crawl through those tunnels, because that would be a claustrophobic nightmare.
Ooh, not me, sir. Didn't they say it would take like 40 minutes to crawl over? Nope. I don't generally have trouble with enclosed spaces, but I feel like for that long with that little space.
Yeah, you can't even crawl on your hands and knees. You just got to like snake your way through,
right?
With
Inchworm
equipment.
Through.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now you
knowing that the xenomorphs are there, like
down the other way.
What? Yeah, exactly. Like, if you had something coming at you, if one of the nothing.
Yep.
Nothing. You can do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was not for me. But good for Bishop. Way to go, man.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What did you think of Newt on the whole? Because obviously, kids, I think, in action movies, can be pretty divisive characters.
Sure.
What did you think of Newt?
So it made me also think of Mad Max 2. So another thing, it's like, another action movie that's really,
or Terminator 2
in it. Yep. Well, right. Yep.
I mean, really, he's kid-ish.
He's a little older. Yeah.
I mean, he's a teenager though. Like, he's not an adult.
Mm-hmm. I thought she was good. I thought she did really well with her role. I kind of bought the idea that you'd have one kid that scurried away to a hiding place or whatever and just laid low. And, the xenomorphs kind of got busy. They clear everybody out. Now you're busy packing people up, and breeding and stuff. And, so I thought she was good and sufficiently did the scared and freaked and I don't trust anything to you guys are all going to die anyways. So then appreciating and connecting with Ripley and opening up some more. And I liked her.
Yeah, I think I 90% of the time, liked her. I had the same reaction. Like, yes, she figured out a way to crawl around these vents, and she's small enough that she could be overlooked, especially if she was quiet. And, when they get there, she's practically a mute. So, it's totally plausible that the xenomorphs were like, meh, like either we're not going to bother right now, or, she just kind of was able to slip around them enough. And I thought her connection finally with Ripley and her thawing towards Ripley and Ripley alone felt very believable, and it gave Ripley something to fight for and kind of focus so that her terror and her, past trauma wouldn't overwhelm her. So I think that was like a great addition to this movie. At the end, I was a little bit like, Newt survived for a long time by hiding and being quiet, and now she keeps screaming.
Yeah.
And, I just, there was like one time in particular that she started screaming, and I was like, kid, what are you doing? You got to know to be quiet here. So there were a couple of moments towards the end where I was like, easy, but, at the very end, it was all good again.
I can see that being a thing where you get they worry about a test audience being like, why wouldn't the kid scream now? And having to think back oh yes, she's been,
right?
husked up this way.
Yep. She figured this out, she figured out how to hide from the xenomorphs. She's got a little bit of street smarts with her trauma as well. So
I see, I think I'm reading it right from this. This is Munch the Collector is in the chat. He says, this is Aliens number one movie. This is number one movie. Aliens.
This is his number one movie?
Yes.
In the Alien verse or ever?
Well, the way I read it says ever. But
cool.
I mean, correct me if I wouldn't. Oh, Alan says that's Renato. Hello, Renato.
What's up, Renato?
Okay, well, arguably ever. Okay. I mean, I can't.
Bold. I love it.
I can't, fault someone for that pick, I think.
Yeah. I do have to know, though. I mean, considering that we're both such big, like, OG Alien fans, like, what it is about 2 that makes you go, Aliens over Alien.
Yeah. That's a good question. Well, Alan mentioned earlier that Renato likes Alien and would be a good guest on the show to talk about more aliens. So we'll do that.
Maybe I can save that question for him so we can have him on and he can explain. I'm sure it's wildly unfair of me to ask that when you can only type words because I'm sure it's like just a furious novel. Like, let me tell you. Mm-hmm. One thing that I do want to bring up too with Aliens is that I like that we got a little bit more questioning and a little bit more pieces of like how the xenomorphs come to be, because we get Ripley being like, okay, they got all the colonists, they smartly got them to the room where all the eggs are. How do we get to the eggs? She was like, where? She's starting to think through, like, how does this whole life cycle go? And then we get the answer with this, like, queen xenomorph in, as a woman, what I can only imagine is, like, the most uncomfortable thing ever. Because it's, like, a literal
suspended and like
funnel of eggs. Mm-hmm. And it just looked awful. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Like I said, that was one of the things I appreciated about this movie was we moved the needle a little bit on understanding the xenomorphs without getting like overly complicated or, this movie trying to suddenly switch from being heavily action focused to like deep philosophical exploration of the xenomorphs and how they came to be. So
yeah,
I liked that sequence. It set up not only like a good final boss, kind of situation, but also gave us a little bit more info as the audience.
Yeah, she was not happy about those eggs being destroyed. I have to say, she was really.
It was a badass moment for Ripley, though, and I think pretty cathartic for her to be burning all of those eggs.
Renato says, I love the world expanding in Aliens. The mix of horror, action, and just characters are fantastic. Alien is very close to being up there as well. So, some of the world expanding there. I agree with that. I wonder, so to me, and maybe it's explained in a novel or something, where does the queen come from? Like, presumably we already had eggs in Alien 1 that were left there dormant. At some point, they were laid. Mm-hmm. So that, I guess is chicken and egg, right?
Right, but like this is this movie doesn't try to answer that question because it can't.
No. Right.
That's not what this movie is designed to do. It's just like, okay, we're asking a really interesting question. Now we have like a new piece.
Yeah. Because if you go back to like Prometheus and Covenant, I guess you'd be explaining that if we accept them as canon, which I very much wants to, it would be David's experimentation that would allow for the creation of an egg to incubate a facehugger. Yes. Well, you'd have that however that was created, I guess that gets carried over in some genetic line, and occasionally a queen is born. So when these new people come to investigate this area that Ripley talked about, then they're obviously infected, and one of the xenomorphs born from them is a queen, and they set up shop. I guess.
Yeah. It feels very much, based on like insect colonies, right? Like ants or bees or something like that, or you have 1,000, 10,000, however many that are, this particular type. And then you got one out of every how many that's born as the queen.
Yeah. So Renato's saying here, so first it says, honestly, if I pick strictly by horror, I'd pick Alien. But as an overall movie, character development felt more prevalent in Aliens. And then as far as you understand, it's a random seeding. I think like maybe 1 out of 1,000 face huggers will implant a queen embryo. So
sure. Yep.
Yeah.
That would make total sense. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of horror, I mean, nothing in my estimation can just beat the chest burst of Alien. It's so good. But the people cemetery in this was wildly creepy. So creepy. So well done. The like half waxy, melted, acidy, people wall nest.
Yeah.
Hostage area. Ugh. Gross.
Yeah. I think, I look at it like, there's got to be a defining moment in at least all the Alien stuff I've seen. Like, what is the shocking body horror moment or something, And I can think of, in Prometheus, it's the self-surgery, In Covenant, it's the first transformation that bursts out of the guy's back, first like protomorph or something. In Alien, it's obviously the original chest burster. So good. It's really, to me, the shock of the crew that sells it.
Yeah.
Like they go dead silence. Like, what the fuck? And then
there's nothing like the first time that you get to see that. It's, ugh.
And then Alien Romulus, that's part of the reason I love that movie so much. I feel like there's a lot of moments that are like really, really sell it. She's like the chest burster scene in that, like, I don't want to die. And then it like,
but when you get it like x-rayed through, when she has that like x-ray thing and you can see it moving around in her chest, that one for me, that was a good one.
Yep. So that whole thing, and like that, the very intricate view of the a chest burster coming out then, and like that's really well done. And then Alien Earth.
Don't spoil it.
Yep, won't say in there yet. Let's see. Renata loves that we have a spoiler tag for this. It's,
never know. Chris hadn't seen it.
Renata says the reader noise is permanently embedded in his head. Radar noise. Yeah, like anxiety inducing. Yeah.
Yes.
It's good. And again, you can see why they made video games around it,
Yes. It's a good homage, I think, to the heartbeat of Alien, while still being different and practical and fitting for this movie. It doesn't feel like a copycat thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's the same vibe, but it's different enough that it doesn't seem like, oh, you just did that too. You did your own thing here, and it's creepy.
Nice. Yes. Okay. Renato, thanks for jumping in the chat. Wish you were here a little bit earlier, but maybe for Alien 3, or let us know. Like Alien 3, Alien 4, those are the ones we have to go through yet, and then Alien Earth when Andrea's done with all that. So any one of those you want to jump on, you feel most passionate about, let us know. And then sometime, it'd be fun to just do a overall general Alien discussion again, because there's so much once we look at the whole timeline, and just it's a lot, and so be fun. I love this. I love this world so much now. Like, it's something that I've come to later. You know, it's cool that you were exposed to it so young and connected with it. Yeah. And for me, it was so late, but yeah. I love it.
It's been really fun to come back to. You know, the obviously the first couple I hadn't seen before, so that was fun to discover those. And then, you know, coming back to this set of movies, which is what I'm more familiar with. It's fun that, you know, Aliens still holds up, and Aliens was, you know, even better in this viewing. So it's fun when you come back to something that you love, and find it just as, if not more, enjoyable. So this has been fun.
Yeah, that's great. Especially for me. Renato probably missed that. I said up early, I really wasn't that big of a fan on first viewing. So this second viewing was a pretty big change of heart for me. So he says that he saw it too young as well, thanks to his big brother.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yep, absolutely. Romulus, Alien versus Predator. I don't know if we need to talk about those.
Yeah,
I mean, I've only seen the first one. I enjoyed it enough for what it is, you know.
Sure,
but I haven't seen the second one, so.
Yeah, my introduction to Alien and Predator was both at 10 years old. Not Alien versus Predator, but both of those franchises, and so they are. I mean, it was wildly inappropriate, but they are so dear to my heart, both of them.
I'll keep that benchmark in mind for my kids, you know.
10. Oh, God. I mean, be ready for the consequences.
Okay. Yep. All right. Well, thank you, Andrea. This has been great. Thank you, Renato, for jumping in here.
Good to hear from you again.
Yeah. I knew I recognized the name, but I did not remember that was you. So thank you, Alan, for filling me in. And we'll get you on a future show here. So
absolutely.
Everybody else, make sure you like, share, subscribe in all the applicable places. We're live now on YouTube and X and Twitch. So any of those places are good. Popcast on the rocks. If you follow us on a podcast directory like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can leave a review there. You'll also get in that, every other week is a podcast on the rocks. And the week that's not that is Ohio Anime. So that's how we're doing it right now, rotating week to week, anime episode, podcast episode, anime episode. So if you're only interested in this stuff, our YouTube is the place, Podcast on our YouTube. If you're only interested in the anime, which I guess I don't know why you're here then, but it would be Ohio Anime is the YouTube page for that. So you can check out that. We'll be going there next week. And I'm guessing, like I say, it's going to be Freerin, episodes 1, maybe 2, and then like 3 episodes of Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider. So
got it.
Pretty different. Then it will be a podcast on the rocks, and then it will probably be back to Jujutsu Kaisen and Hell's Paradise. I think that's how it's rocking right now, and we'll see if we fall too far behind or what. But yeah. So anyways, thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you, Renato, and thank you, Andrea. We'll see you next time.
Sounds good. Cheers, everybody.